The new always wants to step on the old to raise itself up. Why, I wonder, use this bludgeon to prostrate the venerable, nearly perfect medium of printed and bound paper? Robert Stewart in his little volume of essays, Outside Language. Well, as much as I agree with Stewart on many things, the answer to his question is because things change. There were a lot of vested interests, some might say lobbyists, interested in seeing Gutenberg fail too. So how are teens changing? Let's focus on three areas: social media, not new this morning, music, and TV. Teens live their lives on social media. We've heard that time and again. 95% of teens are online, and according to Pew, 80% of them use social networks. Here's the killer. 52% spend 2 to 6 hours a day online, mostly on social networks. 52%. 33% spend more than 6 hours, and only 15% spend less than 2. It's according to an MTV AP poll conducted by Edison Media. I'm not here to make a value judgment, I'm just reporting. They have different personas for different social media, one for Facebook, another for Twitter, another for their Instagram page, and yet another for Pinterest. And if you're not familiar with Instagram or Pinterest, neither was I until just a few weeks ago, get on it. The classic teen characteristic of trying on different personalities finds new meaning in the digital world. They try different speech styles. Remember, teens text 3,000 times a month. They try different physical looks. They Photoshop their photos. They try different personalities, and they don't surf social media. They skateboard across it. Everything in a flash. Second, let's look at music. Teens today don't collect, and they especially don't collect music, games, or dare I say it, books. They download, they stream, they swap, they mix. They have multiple channels on Pandora and Spotify. Helping teens discover music is about two things: word of mouth and algorithms. What's the book world's equivalent of Pandora? Third, let's look at TV. Going into really ancient history, 1979's Video Killed the Radio star was not in fact prophetic. Radio isn't dead, although its function and how it's listened to have changed. Cable, surprise, surprise, didn't kill television, broadcast television. And online won't kill cable or broadcast, though it is forcing new survival strategies. Teens, not to mention toddlers, preschoolers, children, and tweens, did you know that the toy industry redefined childhood to 0 to 10 a few years ago? They lopped off a few years. But teens are device agnostic and they're channel agnostic. And I use the word channel to mean both delivery device and the literal channel or network that a program appears on. They have no idea. You want to find them, they search for the program and they watch it wherever it is that runs on the device at hand, be it Hulu or Vudu, YouTube, or some access point I don't even know about yet. And they're watching online and mobile devices and on Xboxes and on PlayStations. My son, who read this speech and to give me some comments last night, said, I fully expect to be able to read something online at work, pick it up on my mobile on my way home, and then go onto my new Kindle Fire at home. And I want it to be in the right place at the right time, whether it's a book or a movie or anything else. Teens, though, are the first group to have really shifted their television viewing online. It's a natural move for them. They grew up with video in the back seat. They have no idea that once upon a time, you couldn't watch a program whenever you want to. Funny thing about books, of course, is you could read them anytime you wanted to. You just had to have them with you. The question is whether Kindle or Nook qualify as the book industry Hulu or PlayStation. I don't know, but you better be looking at it. So what do we do with this teen-centric view, and how do we create books and apps and enhanced books and whatever is going to come after that appeal to them? If you're a publisher, traditional or digital, you need to think about how a teen is going to live your book through social media. Not just how they're going to be your brand ambassador for the title or the series, but how it fits their lifestyle, how it enhances their ability to try on different personas. For example, we find that YA readers, having grown up oversharing on Facebook, expect to have a close relationship with authors and to learn about the author's personal lives. We interviewed in Youth Markets Alert John Grisham, James Patterson, Scott Turow, and others who have made the leap from adult fiction to YA. And they say that on book tours for adult titles, the audience members inquire about the backstory and the inspiration for the novel's plot. During teen book tours, the audience members ask about the author's life, what they couldn't live without, and what they wish they could do over as a teen. Big difference. You need to think about how teens are going to live your book across media platforms. Not just social media, but any medium. And you need to think about how they can interact with it. There's lots of talk about copyright protection these days, thank you, and I'm very glad to hear it. But there's very little talk about fair use, which is really what a lot of this is about. And that's an application of a book that fits teens' lifestyles and their sense of what they ought to be able to do with the media they do acquire. What's the book world equivalent of a remix? If you're a publisher, traditional or digital, you need to think about how teens aggregate content rather than collect it. What's the best distribution mechanism for what you're doing? How do you help them share what they love and get out of the way and let them be when they hate it? The last thing any teen wants is someone becoming all judgmental on them. Are you about word of mouth or algorithms? The fact is you have to be about both, but you have to start with how your customer lives. If you're a publisher, traditional or digital, you need to think about a generation that wants its media, TV, music, games, and books, when it wants it, on whatever device is handy at the moment, and preferably at no cost for anything other than the device and the subscription fee that their parents are paying. The subscription pricing model, by the way, is a subject for another time, but I remind you that nobody thought Americans would pony up for cable, let alone satellite radio. Magazines and newspapers are experimenting with pay-for-play. Why not book publishers going beyond individual book pricing? Can't possibly work? That's what the music business thought. Enter Spotify and Pandora. I say, be careful. It should come as no surprise to you that if you're a publisher, traditional or digital, your competition isn't other publishers, at least not just other publishers. With teens, possibly more than any other group, you're competing with social media, with music, TV, video games, apps, all the other demands on their time. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting that every book have an electronic or social media application. Some books are best as books. Surprise. And teens will recognize that. Harry Potter was a blockbuster long before Warner Brothers ever got involved. Teens expect this level of, remember I said, interoperability across platforms. They want it at school, at home, on mom's computer, on dad's iPad. My son said, what if the parents are divorced? They've got to start in one house and end in the other. It's a consideration. And they want it on their phone and their Xbox, you name it. Teens are secretive, private, and self-protected, or at least they like to think of themselves as so. But they're also incredibly transparent. Make sure that you're watching and listening, and they'll show you the way. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.